The slap echoed through Chicago's Union Station like a gunshot. Bailey Wright's head snapped to the side, the force of it sending her stumbling against the cold metal bench. Brandon Hayes stood over her, his hand still raised, fingers curled into a weapon. 6'2", expensive suit, a face that belonged in boardrooms and country clubs. Right now, that face was twisted with rage, so pure it looked inhuman. "Get up!" he snarled, spit flying from his lips. "We're leaving! Now!" Bailey touched her mouth, her fingers coming away red. Around them, Union Station had transformed into a frozen tableau of American apathy. 20 people, maybe more, all watching. A mother yanked her daughter behind her legs. Businessmen found sudden fascination with their shoes. Teenagers held up phones, recording, posting, but not helping. Bailey looked at their faces, all those eyes, all that judgment and pity and morbid curiosity, and understood with crushing clarity that no one was coming, no one ever came. Brandon's hand pulled back again, cocking like a hammer. Then it stopped. A hand, strong and immovable, caught his wrist mid-swing. "Touch her again," a voice said, cold and precise as a scalpel, "and you'll regret it." Bailey's vision swam into focus on her savior. Asian man, mid-30s, maybe 36 or 37. His grip on Brandon's wrist looked effortless, but Brandon's face had gone white with pain. Two men materialized from the crowd like ghosts, flanking the stranger in matching black suits. Hands clasped in front of them, faces expressionless, bodies radiating the kind of danger you felt in your bones. The kind of men who'd seen violence and weren't afraid of it. Brandon read the threat instantly. He was a predator, but predators knew when they'd met something worse. He jerked his arm free, stumbling back 2 steps. "This isn't over," Brandon spat, pointing at Bailey with a shaking finger. "You have no idea who you're dealing with. My family, my father is a federal judge. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, you." He caught himself before the slur came out, but Bailey saw it forming on his tongue. She'd heard them all before, whispered in private, when Brandon thought she was too broken to fight back. Brandon stormed off through the station, shoving past gawking tourists, his footsteps echoing like retreating thunder. The stranger turned to Bailey, and his expression shifted completely. The ice melted into something gentle, careful, concerned. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly. Bailey stared at him, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. Her face throbbed. Her wrist ached where Brandon had grabbed it. Her carefully constructed escape plan lay in ruins around her feet like shattered glass. And this stranger, this man she'd never seen before, had done what no one else had. He'd stopped it. Bailey's hands wouldn't stop shaking. They trembled so violently she couldn't grip the ice pack the station medic had given her, couldn't hold the paper cup of water someone pressed into her palm. The medic, a middle-aged black woman with kind eyes and calloused hands, checked her over with professional efficiency. "Split lip," she announced, tilting Bailey's chin toward the fluorescent lights. "Bruising on your left cheek, minor swelling. This wrist is concerning you might have a sprain. Hospital would be smart, honey." Bailey shook her head. No hospitals. Hospitals meant records, meant questions, meant Brandon's uncle, the police commander, making calls, meant everything disappearing. The stranger had stayed back, giving her space but remaining close enough. Protective. His 2 security guards had positioned themselves at careful angles, watching the crowd, the exits, everything. Bailey stood alone with her overnight bag and her shattered plans, feeling the full weight of her situation crush down on her shoulders. Nowhere to go. No one to call. Brandon knew about her sister in Milwaukee. He'd seen the messages. He'd know that's where she'd run. "You can't go back to wherever you were staying." Liam Chen had approached so quietly she hadn't heard him. His voice was soft, but certain. "I was going to my sister's in Milwaukee," Bailey admitted, then stopped. "But he saw the messages. He'll go there first." Liam finished. Check if you're there. Wait outside. Men like him always do. The accuracy of it made Bailey's stomach turn. Of course Brandon would. She knew him, knew how he thought, how he hunted, how he never let go of anything he considered his. Then where do I? Her voice cracked. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by bone-deep exhaustion and terror. Where did she go? She had $800 in cash, the clothes in her bag, and an ex-fiancé with unlimited resources and family connections that could find her anywhere. I have a place, Liam said carefully, watching her face. Safe. Secure. You can stay as long as you need to. Bailey stared at him. I don't know you. I know. His dark eyes held hers steadily. But you know him, and you know what happens if you have nowhere else to go. The truth of it hit her like a physical blow. She knew exactly what happened. She looked at Liam, a stranger, but the only person in 50 who'd helped. Okay, she whispered. Just for tonight. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we'd love to know how far these stories travel. And hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories. I'll really appreciate it. All right, thank you. Let's jump back in. Liam's SUV was a black Mercedes with tinted windows and expensive leather seats. Bailey sat in the back with Liam, watching Chicago slide past the windows. She touched her split lip gingerly, tasting blood again, and tried to process the last hour of her life. The silence stretched between them like something alive. Finally, Bailey broke it. Why did you help me? The question came out smaller than she'd intended. You don't know me. Liam was quiet for a long moment, staring out his own window at the city. When he spoke, his voice carried a weight that made Bailey understand this was a story he didn't tell often. When I was 11, my mother tried to leave my father. Bailey turned to look at him fully. His men found her before she could escape, beat her unconscious in front of hundreds of people. Businessmen, families, children, everyone just watched. His jaw tightened. She survived, but she never tried again. Died when I was 19, cancer, officially. But I think she died long before that, in every way that mattered. I swore I'd never watch it happen again and do nothing. His eyes met Bailey's, and she saw something in them that made her chest ache. Old pain, old rage, old guilt. I'm sorry, she said softly. Don't be sorry. Just be safe. A pause, then Bailey remembered. He said something, before he left, about his family. Liam's expression darkened almost imperceptibly. What exactly did he say? That you have no idea who you're dealing with. That his family has connections. Bailey's hands twisted in her lap. He wasn't bluffing. He never bluffs. Liam exchanged a look with Dae-jung in the rearview mirror. Some wordless communication passed between them. Tell me about him, Liam said, his tone shifting into something more focused. Everything. The Gold Coast high-rise was the kind of building Bailey had only seen in magazines. Liam's apartment was on the 38th floor. When the private elevator doors opened directly into his space, Bailey forgot to breathe. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Lake Michigan like a living painting. The sun was setting, turning the water into molten gold. The apartment itself was modern, minimalist, expensive in a way that whispered rather than shouted. Everything was clean lines and muted colors, comfortable without being cluttered. Sit, Liam said gently, gesturing to a charcoal sectional. I'll get you some water. Bailey sank into the sofa, her overnight bag at her feet, and tried to make her brain work. She felt like she was moving through honey, everything slow and difficult. Liam returned with a glass of water, set it on the coffee table in front of her, and sat in a chair across from her close enough to talk, far enough to not crowd. Everything about his body language screamed, safe. His name is Brandon Hayes, Bailey began, her voice sounding strange to her own ears. He's a corporate attorney at Sterling and Wade, big firm, downtown. Handles mergers and acquisitions for Fortune 500 companies. Liam nodded. He knew the firm everyone in Chicago's business world did. High-powered, connected, the kind of place that minted millionaires before they turned 35. Bailey's story spilled out in fragments, pieces of truth she'd hidden for so long they hurt coming out. We met 2.5 years ago. Charity fundraiser, some cancer research gala at the Drake Hotel. I was there with my friend Maya from work. He was charming, successful. Made me feel like I was the only woman in the room. She laughed bitterly. I was a social worker at the Department of Children and Family Services, good at my job, had my own apartment, my own life, my own friends. I thought I was smart enough to see red flags. He swept me off my feet. Flowers delivered to my office. Expensive dinners at places I couldn't pronounce. Weekend trips to Napa, to New York. He told me I was brilliant, beautiful, perfect, everything I'd ever wanted to hear. We moved in together after 4 months. Too fast. I know that now. But it felt like finally someone saw me. Really saw me. Bailey took a sip of water. Her hands steadier now. Telling it helped somehow. Naming the poison made it less powerful. It started small. Comments, you know? Those jeans are a bit tight, don't you think? Why do you need to go out with friends when you have me? Little things I explained away. He was stressed from work. He just wanted to spend time with me. He loved me so much, he was protective. Then it became bigger. Let me handle the finances, baby. You're so stressed with work. Liam's expression remained carefully neutral, but his hands had clenched into fists against his thighs. He made me quit my job 7 months in. Said it was too stressful, that I was bringing work home, that I was neglecting our relationship. He made enough for both of us, he said. I could relax. Focus on us. Bailey's laugh was hollow. I didn't realize until later that he'd cut me off from the one place. I had identity. Then he started with my friends, my family. Maya doesn't respect our relationship. Did you hear how she talked to me? Your sister Nicole is jealous of us. She's trying to poison you against me. One by one, he isolated me. And I let him. Because I loved him. And love meant believing him. Right? The word love tasted like ash in her mouth now. The first time he hit me was 8 months in. Bailey's voice went flat, clinical, the social worker part of her brain activating, creating distance from the trauma. We were arguing about, I don't even remember. Something stupid. Dishes, maybe. He shoved me. I hit the kitchen counter. Bruised my hip so badly I couldn't sleep on that side for a week. He cried. Actually cried. Bought me 3 dozen roses. Swore on his mother's grave it would never happen again. It happened again 2 weeks later. And again. And again. Bailey's hands were shaking again. She pressed them flat against her knees. Liam leaned forward, his voice gentle but urgent. Bailey, you mentioned his family has connections. What kind? This was the part that had kept her trapped, the part that made escape feel impossible. His father is Richard Hayes, federal judge, 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, appointed by President Obama, confirmed unanimously. One of the most respected jurists in the Midwest. Liam's jaw tightened. That was serious power, the kind of power that could make problems disappear, make witnesses forget what they'd seen, make police reports vanish into bureaucratic black holes. His uncle is Marcus Hayes, commander of the 1st District, Chicago PD. His cousin works in the state attorney's office, Major Crimes Division. His godfather is a partner at one of the biggest law firms in Illinois. Bailey's voice was steady now, reciting facts. Brandon always said if I tried to leave, if I went to the police, no one would believe me. His family would bury me, destroy my credibility, make me look crazy, vindictive, a gold digger. He said they'd make me disappear, and everyone would think I just ran away. Did you believe him? Yes. The truth was simple, because I'd seen it happen. In my social work career, I saw how the system worked. How women with no resources, no connections, no proof got chewed up. And Brandon had all the proof he needed: joint bank accounts, my name on the lease, photos of us looking happy. He controlled the narrative. Liam was quiet, processing. Then, "You said you were leaving him today. What changed?" Bailey reached into her bra, the one place Brandon never thought to search, and pulled out a micro SD card. She held it up like a talisman. 6 months ago, something inside me just broke. Or maybe it finally healed. I realized I had two choices: die in that relationship, or risk dying to get out. She set the SD card on the coffee table between them. "This is evidence. I had emergency room records from 3 accidents. A statement from my former therapist Brandon made me go to therapy to fix my anxiety. But Dr. Reeves documented everything I told her. My sister Nicole helped me plan. She found me an apartment in Milwaukee, helped me line up a job at a non-profit there. A new life, new phone, new email, everything. Today was supposed to be freedom. I was going to disappear while he was at a conference in Detroit, be gone before he even knew." Bailey's voice cracked. "But he tracked my phone somehow. I didn't know. He knew everything when I was leaving, where I was going. He was waiting at the station." Liam picked up the SD card, examined it, then looked at Bailey with an expression she couldn't quite read. Respect, maybe. "Richard Hayes, federal judge. That's complicated." Bailey's heart sank. Of course it was. She'd known that Brandon's connections made this impossible. But not impossible. Liam stood, pulled out his phone, and made a call. He spoke in rapid Korean, his tone clipped and commanding. Bailey didn't understand the words, but she understood authority when she heard it. This wasn't a request. This was orders. He hung up and returned to his seat. "Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., my attorney will be here. She knows how to fight this. We file an emergency order of protection first thing tomorrow. Criminal charges for the assault at the station. Civil suit for damages. Everything." Bailey felt hope flutter in her chest, fragile as a moth. "But his father is a federal judge. His family has connections. I know." Liam's smile was small, dangerous. "So do I." He didn't elaborate. Didn't explain what kind of businessman needed armed security guards and could summon high-powered attorneys with a phone call at 7 p.m. on a weeknight. Bailey didn't ask. Some questions, she was learning, were better left unasked. "What do you do exactly?" she ventured instead. "For work?" "I invest in businesses. Import, export, mostly. Some real estate development, international trade. All technically true," his tone suggested. "Just not complete truth. The important thing is I know people, and I know how to handle men like Brandon Hayes." He stood, retrieved something from a drawer, a keycard and a smartphone. Newer model, still in the box. "Guest room is down that hall. Second door. Locks from the inside, deadbolt. You control it. This phone is untraceable. Prepaid. My number's programmed in, along with Keisha's, Daejung's, and Minho's. You need anything, anytime, you call." Bailey took the phone and keycard with trembling fingers. "Why are you doing this? Really?" Liam met her eyes. "Because I can. Because someone should. Because my mother deserved someone to help her, and she didn't get it." His voice softened. "Get some rest. Tomorrow we fight back." Bailey's guest room was beautiful king bed with hotel-quality linens, attached bathroom with a soaking tub, windows facing the lake. She locked the door, checked it twice, then sat on the bed with her ruined phone in her hands. Against every ounce of better judgment, she turned it on. 47 missed calls, all from Brandon. Her thumb hovered over the voicemail icon. "Don't listen," the social worker part of her brain warned. "Nothing good comes from listening." She listened anyway. The first voicemail was almost sweet. "Baby, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me. That guy at the station, he provoked me. Made me look bad in front of everyone. Please come home. We can work this out. I love you so much. Voicemail 15 was angrier. You made me look like a fool with that Asian thug. Do you know what you've done? People are filming, posting. My firm is going to see this. My father is going to see this. Get your ass home now so we can figure out damage control. Bailey deleted the voicemail app with shaking hands. Liam returned at 8:30 with coffee and breakfast pastries from a French bakery Bailey couldn't pronounce. She'd showered, changed into clean clothes from her overnight bag, and tried to make herself look less like a disaster. The bruise on her cheek had deepened overnight into a ugly purple-yellow flower. At exactly 9 a.m., the elevator chimed. Keisha Martinez walked in like she owned the world. 43, Latina, wearing a power suit in deep burgundy and heels sharp enough to be weapons. Her dark eyes swept over Bailey. Behind her came another woman, black, mid-50s, softer presence but equally commanding. Natural hair and elegant locks, kind eyes behind stylish glasses. Bailey, Keisha said, extending her hand for a firm shake. Keisha Martinez. I've been Liam's attorney for 8 years. They all reviewed the SD card evidence. The contents were damning. Documented injuries, controlling text messages. But the audio recording sealed it. Brandon's voice threatening to break your fucking neck and claim it was an accident. This is felony territory, Keisha said flatly. We file for an emergency protection order today, plus criminal charges. She warned Bailey what was coming. Brandon's father would pull strings. They'd paint her as mentally unstable, drag up her past depression and expunged DUI. The Hayes family would try to destroy her credibility. Are you ready for this fight? Dr. Johnson asked gently. It's going to get ugly. Bailey thought about Brandon's hands around her throat, about 2.5 years of disappearing piece by piece. I'm ready, she said, her voice steady. Whatever they throw at me can't be worse than going back to him. Keisha's smile was sharp as a blade. Good. Then let's destroy him. The courtroom buzzed with tension. Brandon sat beside his high-powered attorney Richard Sterling's silver hair and expensive suit. Behind him, Judge Richard Hayes watched with predatory calm, a silent reminder of the family's power. Judge Patricia Williams entered a black woman with silver natural hair and 30 years of exhausted wisdom etched into her face. This is an emergency petition for an order of protection, she announced. Mr. Sterling, your client may present his case first. Sterling painted Bailey as mentally unstable, citing her teenage depression and suicide attempt. He claimed Liam Chen was manipulating her, that the station incident was Brandon trying to help a woman in crisis, not assault. The video shows him slapping her, Judge Williams noted dryly. A regrettable moment of passion, Your Honor, not abuse. And the audio recording where your client threatens to break her neck? Sterling dismissed it as emotional hyperbole, questioning its legality. Keisha shut him down instantly. Illinois law allows recordings to document threats of violence. Miss Wright was preserving evidence of ongoing abuse. Perfectly legal. Bailey took the stand, walking through the relationship timeline with clinical precision, the isolation, the control, the escalating violence. When she described Brandon strangling her unconscious 3 months ago, her voice finally wavered. I woke up on the floor, gasping. He was crying, saying he'd kill himself if I ever left, that I made him do it. Sterling's cross-examination tried to break her, painting her as a gold digger who enjoyed Brandon's money, suggesting Liam was controlling her now. Bailey leaned forward, her voice steel. 2 years of documentation, medical records, audio of him threatening to kill me. How much more do I need? Then Keisha played the station footage. The slap echoed through the silent courtroom, Bailey's head snapping sideways, blood on her lip, Brandon raising his hand for a second strike before Liam intervened. Multiple angles from witness phones showed the same brutal truth. This wasn't an argument. This was assault. Liam testified next, calm and unshakable. When Sterling insinuated organized crime connections, Liam's response was ice cold. If you have evidence of criminal activity, present it. Otherwise, you're engaging in racist speculation. The courtroom went silent. Sterling moved on. But Brandon's testimony destroyed any remaining credibility. Under Keisha's cross-examination, his mask slipped. She was leaving me. After everything I'd done for her, I took her from nothing. You controlled her money, isolated her, and assaulted her. That's what you gave her? Brandon's voice rose to a shout. She's mine! I made her everything she is! The courtroom froze. Judge Williams leaned forward. She's mine? Would you care to elaborate? Brandon realized his mistake too late. I didn't mean we were engaged. Step down, Mr. Hayes. Judge Williams removed her glasses, her expression granite. The evidence is overwhelming. The station assault is documented from multiple angles. Miss Wright's injuries are real. Her evidence of systematic abuse is thorough and credible. A woman who plans her escape for 6 months, who gathers evidence, who seeks professional help, that's not mental illness. That's survival. She looked directly at Brandon. You assaulted your fiancé in one of the busiest public places in Chicago, in front of dozens of witnesses. That demonstrates breathtaking arrogance and clear danger. Emergency order of protection is granted. Duration? 2 years. The gavel fell like a gunshot. Mr. Hayes will stay 500 feet from Miss Wright. No contact of any kind. Violation will result in immediate arrest. To Sterling. And tell whoever sent you that this court doesn't bow to political pressure. I've been making unpopular decisions for 30 years. I'm not stopping now. Bailey sagged in her chair, tears streaming. Keisha squeezed her shoulder. You won! But across the aisle, Brandon's eyes found Bailey's pure hatred, pure obsession burning in them. As he left, he mouthed 3 words. This isn't over. 1 week post-hearing, Brandon's luxury apartment in River North looked like a conspiracy theorist's bunker. The walls of his home office were covered in printouts, maps of Liam's building, photos of Bailey leaving with Liam's security, timelines, flowcharts connecting names and locations. Red string linked various points like a murder board. The bourbon bottle on his desk was half empty. It was 11 a.m. His phone buzzed incessantly with calls he wouldn't answer. Sterling and Wade had placed him on administrative leave corporate speak for, "You're toxic and we're distancing ourselves." The station videos had gone viral, 7 million views across platforms. LinkedIn was a nightmare of former colleagues quietly removing their connections. His father visited that afternoon. Judge Richard Hayes let himself in with his own key, found Brandon drunk and obsessing. This needs to stop, Richard said, his voice cold with disgust. You're embarrassing yourself. Embarrassing this family. Brandon whirled on him. She's mine! I built her from nothing! And that, he caught himself before the slur. That businessman thinks he can just take what's mine? She was never yours, Brandon. She was a person, with rights, with agency. You don't believe me either? Brandon's voice cracked. My own father? Richard's expression was granite. I believe you beat that woman. I believe you've been doing it for years. You helped me. You hired Sterling, you pulled strings. I helped you navigate the legal system. I didn't help you escape consequences. Richard moved toward the door. You're cut off financially until you get yourself into treatment. Real treatment. Anger management, therapy, whatever it takes. I'm done enabling this. And if you violate that order of protection, if you go near that woman, I will not protect you. The Hayes name means something. You're destroying it. Fix yourself or lose everything. He left. Brandon stood alone in his apartment, surrounded by his obsession, and made a decision. If he couldn't have Bailey, no one could. Day 12 since the hearing. 11:07 p.m. Bailey was getting ready for bed in Liam's guest room when the fire alarm began its ear-splitting wail. She froze, heart hammering. Liam's building had state-of-the-art security. Fire alarm only went off if there was actual fire or if someone triggered it manually. Bailey grabbed her phone. A knock on her door. Minho's voice. "Miss Wright. Building evacuation. We need to go now. Fire alarm on the 23rd floor." Bailey opened the door. Minho was there in jeans and a t-shirt, off-duty clothes, but his expression was alert. "Stay close to me. Daejung is with Mr. Chen. We take the stairs." They entered the stairwell. The sound of 200 residents evacuating footsteps, confused voices, crying children. The organized chaos of emergency procedures everyone hoped they'd never need. Bailey and Minho descended 2 floors before his phone buzzed. He checked it, his expression shifting to alarm. "Back up. Now. Now." He grabbed Bailey's arm, propelled her back up the stairs against the flow of evacuation traffic. "Apartment. Lock yourself in. Don't open the door for anyone except Mr. Chen or myself." "What's happening?" "Security detected someone using a master key to access the 38th floor during evacuation. It might be nothing. It might be—" He didn't finish. He left, door slamming behind him. Bailey threw the deadbolt, her hands shaking so badly she could barely manage it. Grabbed her phone to call Liam. The lock clicked. Impossible. She'd just locked it. The door opened. Brandon stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the hallway's emergency lighting. He wore a dark hoodie and baseball cap, but she'd know that posture anywhere. That presence. That predator's stillness. "Hello, Bailey." She backed away, reaching for her phone. He was faster, crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed the phone from her hand, hurled it across the room. It hit the wall with a sickening crack, screen shattering into spiderwebs. "We need to talk," Brandon said, his voice eerily calm. "Really talk. Without your guards. Without Chen manipulating you." "Brandon, there's a restraining order." "Fuck the restraining order." The calm shattered instantly, replaced by pure rage. "You're my fiancé. You don't get to just leave me." He advanced. Bailey backed toward the bedroom, calculating distances, exits, weapons. Nothing. Everything was too far, too heavy, too useless. "I've lost everything because of you." Spittle flew from his lips. "My job, my reputation, my father won't even talk to me. All because you decided to play victim." "I didn't, Brandon. You did this to yourself." "No!" He grabbed her, slammed her against the wall. Her head bounced off the hard surface, stars exploding in her vision. "You did this? You and that criminal you're fucking!" "I'm not. We're not. Don't lie to me." His hands found her throat. Squeezed. The world went sideways, then dark at the edges. Bailey clawed at his hands, his face, anything. Consciousness fading like water draining from a sink. "This is how I die," she thought. "After everything. After fighting so hard. He wins." The door exploded inward. The deadbolt literally ripped from the doorframe, metal shrieking, wood splintering. Liam, Daejung, and Minho burst through like an avenging force of nature. Liam hit Brandon with the force of a linebacker, tackling him off Bailey and into the coffee table. Glass shattered. Brandon's head cracked against the hardwood floor. Bailey collapsed, gasping, clawing at her throat, trying to remember how to breathe. Each inhale was agony, her windpipe crushed and burning. Brandon fought back wild, desperate, the strength of complete derangement. He landed a punch on Liam's jaw that would have dropped a normal person. Liam barely flinched. Then, Brandon pulled a knife. A folding tactical knife, 4-inch blade. The kind you could buy at any sporting goods store. He'd come prepared for violence. Maybe not murder. Maybe just persuasion. But the knife said otherwise. He slashed at Liam. The blade caught Liam's forearm, slicing through his shirt, opening a shallow cut. Blood bloomed red. Liam's expression went absolutely cold. He grabbed Brandon's knife hand, twisted the wrist at an angle that made Brandon scream, forced him to drop the weapon. The knife clattered across the floor. Then Liam swept Brandon's legs, put him face down on the hardwood, knee on his back, arm twisted behind him at the edge of breaking. "Move and I break it," Liam said, his voice empty of all emotion. Daejung kicked the knife away, already on the phone, calling 911. Minho was with Bailey, helping her sit up, checking her throat with gentle hands. "Can you breathe?" Minho asked. "Bailey, can you hear me?" She nodded, coughing, each breath like swallowing glass. Her throat was on fire. Brandon was screaming obscenities into the floor, thrashing uselessly against Liam's immovable weight. "Get off me! She's mine! Mine! You can't take her from me!" Police arrived 7 minutes later, multiple units, lights strobing through the windows. They found Brandon pinned, still screaming, found the knife. Found Bailey with finger-shaped bruises darkening on her throat. Found Liam bleeding from the knife wound, his expression deadly calm. The lead officer took one look at the scene and understood everything. "Brandon Hayes, you're under arrest for violation of order of protection, attempted murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and felony home invasion." As they cuffed Brandon and hauled him to his feet, he lunged toward Bailey one last time. "This isn't over! You hear me? You're mine! You'll always be mine!" The officers dragged him out, still screaming. His voice echoed down the hallway, fading as the elevator took him away. 6 weeks later, the criminal courts building at 26th and California was a fortress of justice. Bailey had been here twice before for pre-trial hearings. Now, the actual trial. People of the state of Illinois versus Brandon Michael Hayes. The charges read like a crime spree. The prosecution's case was overwhelming. They had the station videos watched by 12 million people across social media, impossible to deny or explain away. They had Bailey's injuries from that day, documented by Dr. Johnson, photographed by police. They had the audio recording of Brandon threatening to break her neck. They had the knife with Brandon's fingerprints and Liam's blood. They had building security footage showing Brandon entering during the false alarm, using a stolen master key. They had 4 witnesses, Bailey, Liam, Daejung, and Minho, all testifying to the attempted strangulation. They had medical records showing Bailey's throat injuries consistent with manual strangulation. They had the PI who'd helped Brandon, now cooperating in exchange for a reduced sentence, testifying that Brandon had paid him $10,000 to create the fire alarm diversion. The defense was desperate. Brandon's new attorney, Richard Hayes, had cut his son off financially, so Brandon had a court-appointed public defender tried everything: temporary insanity, extreme emotional disturbance, claims that Bailey had driven him to madness with her alleged infidelity with Liam. None of it worked. The jury didn't take long deliberating. When they returned, their expressions told the story before the foreman spoke. Guilty on all counts. Every single one. Brandon's face crumpled. He looked at his father in the gallery, but Richard Hayes looked away, unwilling to meet his son's eyes. Bailey sat between Keisha and Dr. Johnson, tears streaming down her face. Not tears of joy, exactly. Something more complex. Relief. Grief for the years lost. Rage at what had been done to her. Gratitude for surviving. Judge Williams looked at Brandon with something close to contempt. "You're not mentally ill. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're a predator who targeted vulnerable women and believed your family connections made you untouchable. You were wrong. I'm sentencing you to 10 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. No early parole eligibility. Mandatory completion of domestic violence treatment programs. Upon release, You will have a lifetime order of protection barring you from contact with Miss Wright or her family. Take him away." Brandon was led out in shackles, his face a mask of disbelief and rage. He tried to look at Bailey one last time, but the bailiff blocked his view. The door closed behind him with the finality of a coffin lid. 6 months later, she stood in her new apartment, a one-bedroom in Logan Square. Modest, but hers. Actually hers. Her name on the lease, her furniture, her rules. Liam had offered to pay for something nicer, but she'd refused. This was hers to build. She'd started a new job 3 months ago, program director at a nonprofit supporting domestic violence survivors. Using her social work degree again, helping women navigate the exact hell she'd survived. It was hard work, triggering sometimes, but deeply meaningful. Her phone buzzed. Text from Liam. "Dinner tonight? 7 p.m.? That Italian place you liked?" Bailey smiled. They'd been doing this for 4 months now, careful dates, slow building, no pressure. Liam had kept his word about taking things at her pace. Some nights they just walked along the lakefront, holding hands, talking about everything and nothing. Some nights they cooked dinner at his place, her in the kitchen, him reading case files, comfortable domesticity. Last month, she'd kissed him goodnight, and it hadn't felt scary. It felt right. She texted back, 7 p.m. sounds perfect. Pick me up? Always. The Italian restaurant was cozy. Candles on checkered tablecloths, Dean Martin crooning from hidden speakers. Liam held her chair out with old-fashioned courtesy, ordered wine she actually got to choose herself. They talked about their respective jobs. "After everything with Brandon," Liam said, "I realized I want a different life. A legitimate one. The kind where I don't have to worry about impending trouble." "What changed?" Liam's eyes found hers across the candlelight. "You did. Meeting you, helping you, watching you fight so hard to build something real, it made me want the same thing." Bailey's breath caught. This moment felt significant, balanced on a knife's edge. "I love you," Liam said simply. "I've loved you since that night you told me you'd rather risk dying than stay trapped. I love your courage, your strength, your refusal to let him break you. I love the way you help other women survive what you survived. I love you, Bailey." Tears pricked her eyes. Happy tears, for once. "I love you too. And that terrifies me." "I know. Brandon made me afraid to trust. Afraid that love meant control and violence and losing myself piece by piece." "I know," Liam repeated gently. "But you're not him." Bailey reached across the table, took his hand. "You've never tried to control me. You've never made me feel small. You gave me safety and space and choices. You let me leave when I needed to, and you're still here when I come back. That's what love should be," Liam said. "Safety and partnership." "I'm still healing," Bailey warned. "I still panic sometimes when someone moves too fast or raises their voice. I know, and I'll wait as long as you need. We'll go as slow as you want." Bailey smiled, squeezed his hand. "What if I don't want to go slow anymore?" Liam's eyes widened slightly. "Then we go at whatever pace feels right to you." After dinner, they walked along the frozen lakefront, the city glittering behind them. The wind was vicious, but Bailey didn't mind. Liam had his arm around her shoulders, and she leaned into his warmth. They stopped at a bench overlooking the ice-choked water. Chicago's skyline rose behind them. Bailey turned to face Liam fully. "I need to tell you something." "Okay." 6 months ago, I would have said yes to dating you out of gratitude. Because you saved me. Because I owed you. Because I didn't know how to survive alone. And now? Now I know I saved myself. You gave me tools and safety. But I did the hard work." "Yes," Liam agreed. "It was. These feelings I have, they're not gratitude. They're not obligation. They're not trauma bonding or dependency." Bailey's voice was clear, certain. "They're real. Scary and real, and mine to choose. I choose you, Liam. Not because you rescued me. Because of who you are when there's nothing to rescue me from. Because you make me laugh. Because you listen. Because you saw me at my worst and never made me feel weak. I choose you. Liam cupped her face gently in his hands, giving her space to pull away, and kissed her. Soft, reverent, patient. Bailey kissed him back, and it felt like freedom. Thank you for watching till the end. If this story touched you, inspired you, or took you on a journey, don't leave without hitting the like button. Subscribe if you haven't and switch your notifications on. You don't want to miss what I got coming up. Make sure to drop in the comments section where in the world you're watching from. We're building a global community of story lovers here, and your voice is part of it. See you in the next one. Have a great day.